My name is Mark Tayac, and we're here today from the Piscataway Indian Nation. And it's our people, the Piscataway Nation, that's the indigenous tribe today, right to the state of Maryland. But at one time, our people, we inhabited Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., of course, before the capital being there, the entire state of Maryland, and we extended into Delaware, New Jersey, straight across the state of Pennsylvania, and all the way up into the Ohio Valley. And how we as Piscataway people defined what was our nation's homeland, our nation's territory. How it was defined was by how far our language was being spoken. For you could find the Piscataway language from Northern Virginia right on up into the Ohio Valley. And in our language, our family's last name, Tayac, means chief. I am now currently the 29th generation of hereditary chiefs. My father, my grandfather, my great grandfather, and great great. We count back 29 generations in our family of carrying that title of chieftainship. And when it's my time to go on to the next world, my son will then become the 30th generation of hereditary chiefs. But our family, we are from the principal capital village of our people that's known as Mayone. Mayone being our principal capital village, like Washington, D.C. being the capital of the United States. It has been documented by archaeologists and anthropologists that our people had lived in that village of what is known as Mayone for 15,000 years. For 15,000 years, what is known today as the Chesapeake Bay region has been our home, and it's still our home now. We're here today in recognition and in celebration of November as being National American Indian Heritage Month. Here in the United States, as American Indian people, we represent over 500 different Native nations or tribes. Many of our people, we speak different languages, different customs, different traditions. We're actually very diverse from region to region to region, but we do believe that we're all one people. And what bonds us together is our DNA, our Indian blood. It was a little over now, 40 years ago. I started working with many young Native people, talking about our history, talking about our customs, our traditions, our songs, our dances, our spiritual teachings, and our languages. Telling our young Native youth to always be proud of who we are, that we are descendants from a very strong and a very beautiful people, that we are descendants from such great leaders as Geronimo, Sitting Bull, Tecumseh, Pontiac, Chief Joseph, Osceola, and all the great chiefs that have gone on before us. Hold your head high and be proud of who we are, for we have survived as a people, and we are still here today. And from that, we organized an American Indian cultural performing group where we traveled all throughout the United States, sharing our songs and our dances with people. But one of the key reasons that we did this was to change images, images that have not always portrayed American Indian people in a very positive or a very accurate way. What we found over the years is that in today's society, many things that people have learned about American Indians, they've learned it from some of the old cowboy and Indian movies, or
Wasn't
they've
it?
learned about American Indian history from cartoon characters such as Pocahontas, or they've learned about American Indian culture, the beautiful culture that our people have had for tens of thousands of years. They've learned that maybe from sport teams, sport teams that use our people today as mascots. To us as Native people, the drum represents the heartbeat of life. And our elders have always taught us, as long as we keep our drum alive, that the beauty of our culture will carry on for our children, for their children, and even as far as our just us, that no matter what ethnic background a person comes from, what sector of the world an individual was born in, we're all members of the human family collectively together. And we all smile the same way, and we all laugh the same way, and we all have the same love in our hearts for our friends and for our families and for our communities. And that's what the drum represents. It represents the heartbeat of life. And this is how we can start changing racism, racism that has been perpetuated for too long. We're going to get ready to get started with our dances now. Many of the dances that we're going to be sharing here today are dances that have been passed down to us from generation to celebrations that we call powwows. In the Eastern Woodland Algonquin language, the word powwow meaning gathering of the people. In the spring of the year, as we see our Mother Earth start to come alive, and we see the grass growing, leaves coming out on the trees, all the animals coming out of hibernation. We give thanks for the strength, the pride, the dignity that we have in our homes, in our families, and our communities. And how we give thanks for that is through our songs and dances. Well, today, many people are understanding some of the same teachings that we have. In the spring of the year, people today are attending Earth Day celebrations, understanding that the earth gives life to our people. At our powwows, the first dance of the day is what we call our grand entry dance, showing the grand beauty of our people. The opportunity to attend one of our powwows, one of our It's a very 500, maybe up to 1,000 dancers, from our elders on down to our little children that we call tiny tots. At this time, we're going to present our first dance, is what we call our grand entry dance, showing the grand beauty of our people and our culture. Oh yeah, say what you better. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, say oh yeah, say oh yeah, say what you better. Hey yeah, hey yeah, hey yeah. Hey yeah, hey yo. Oh yeah, say oh yeah, say oh yeah, say what you better. Hey yeah, hey yeah. Hey, hello, way, yeah. Way, yeah, yeah, way, oh, hello. Hey, yeah, hey, yo. Hey, oh, yeah, hey, oh, yeah, hey, but you follow. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Yeah, way, yeah, 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 way. Oh, oh, yeah, hey, oh, yeah, hey, but you follow. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, hello, way, yeah. Way, yeah, hey, yeah, way, yeah, way, lo, hey, lo, hey, yeah. Dance. Hey, you guys, let's give them a nice hand for that there. It does take a lot of strength, endurance, and energy to be able to do this. This next dance here represents the old days and the old ways of our people. The days when a young man was preparing himself for battle. And but maybe battle against just his opponents. It was a very honorable thing for a young man to go into battle, to go up to his opponent, carrying an object in his hand, reaching out and touching that individual with that object, demonstrating one of the most highest acts of bravery. Going back home to one's encampment, going back home to one's village, and showing the honorable deeds that you did in battle. And from that, the term war dance came about, for it was rare that our wars were ever fought on the battlefield. Our wars were normally fought on the ball field. We had very highly organized, very highly sophisticated games our people played. One game in particular was known as stickball. If there was a dispute between two of our villages, we selected our best warriors. They would go on to the ball field. They would play this game stickball for days upon days upon days upon days. And normally, whoever won that game is how that dispute was settled. Well, today, many of our young Native youth are still playing this game, stickball, and it's grown with much popularity all throughout the United States and even throughout the world. Today, this game is known as lacrosse. It's a contribution that we as American Indians have given to today's society. So, what we're going to do now. Yeah, 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 yo, hello. Hey, yeah, hey, yo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What? Hi, yeah. Yeah, 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 yo, hello. Hey, yeah, hello. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Yahweh, hi, yeah. Way, hello, hello, hey, hey, hi, yeah. Yahweh, hi, yeah, ho, hi, yeah. Yeah, 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 yo, hello. Hey, yeah, hey, yo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Way, oh, hello, hey, ah, yeah, yeah, ah, yeah, oh, ah, yeah, 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 hello, hey, ah, hello. Yahweh, ah, yeah, way, hello, hello, hey, hey, ah, yeah, Yahweh, ah, yeah, oh, ah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yo, hello, hey, yeah, hey, yo. Yeah, hey, ah, yeah, way, yo, hello, hey, ah, yeah, yeah, ah, yeah, oh, ah, yeah, 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 yo, hello, hey, ah, hey, yo. Our old style of war dance. This is my son, Nachi, here. Let's give him also a big hand for that beautiful demonstration of our old style of dancing. Being that our culture is still very much alive, we have dances that have evolved to reflect who we are as American Indian people today. After the days of counting coup, after the days of living in our longhouses, our teepees, our hogans, depending on where one's tribal homelands were, more modern and contemporary dances were developed to reflect the great athletic skills that many of our young people possessed. One of those dances that came about was known as our women fancy shawl butterfly dance. It's a more modern and contemporary dance. You'll see the high energetic foot movement, leg movement. A shawl is worn, arms extending. The ribbon or the fringe on the shawl to represent all the feathers of the winged ones. When you watch close, you'll see the great athletic skills and abilities that many of our young Native people possess. This is Katie Isnock here. I'd like to ask you to give Katie a warm, warm welcome, a big hand as she comes on for our women's fancy shawl dance. Danwa, Danwa, ne meto, Danwa, Danwa, ne meto, we are ya, we are, we are, we are ya, we are, we are. Danwa, Danwa, ne meto, ne che noa, oh my ya, we are, yo. Danwa, Danwa, ne meto, we are ya, we are, we are, we are ya, we are ya. Danwa, Danwa, ni meto, the chinoa, oh my ya, we are yo. Danwa, Danwa, ni meto, we are ya, we are, we are, we are ya, we are ya. Danwa, Danwa, ni meto, the Yahweh, ya, way, ya, Danwa, Danwa, ni meto, neche, noa, oh my, ya, hey, ya, hey, oh. Our women's fancy shawl dance. This next dance here is what we call our crow dance, or what's known as a crow hop. And again, here in the United States, we represent over 500 over 500 different tribes or nations. And at our powwows, we can come together from all the various native nations that we represent throughout the United States. And what bonds us together as American Indian people is our DNA, our Indian blood. And we can share all the dances that we have with one another from each other's tribe or nation. This one here is what we call our crow dance, or what's known as a crow hop. Our crow dance, or what's known as a crow hop. We're going to give another demonstration of our old style of traditional dancing. To us as Native people, hunting was a very intricate part. Hunting was a very intricate part of our culture. Hunting for moose, elk, deer, buffalo, again, depending on where one's tribal homelands were. Being a hunter meant you were a provider, providing food to feed your families, hides in which we would make our buckskin clothing, hides in which we would also cover our traditional homes with. Watch close, and you'll see an enactment of a warrior hunting for the four-legged, the head going down to the ground, looking for the tracks, the head going to the sky, looking for the winged ones, the duck, the geese, the turkeys. This is what we call our men's hunting dance. But today we just refer to many of these dances as our old style of men's traditional dancing. Way ya, hey ya. Way, hi, hello, hey ya, hello, 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 hey ya, hey, oi. Our men's traditional dance. Contrary to many people's beliefs that all we ever did was our old style of war dances, it's a very inaccurate portrayal of our people and our culture. Most of the dances that we had before, and many that we still have today, are the old style animal dances. We honored all the animals that we saw in creation, and we honored them through dances, dances that our people have done for thousands and thousands of years. Today, we don't refer to them as our animal dances. We just call these our social dances. This one here is what we call our snake dance. Well, hey, yo, hey, yo. Well, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yeah, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, hello, hey, ya, hey, yo, well, hey, ya, hey, yo, well, hey, ya, hey, yo. Yeah, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yeah, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yo, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yo, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yo, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, yo. Yo, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo, way, yo. Hello, hey, yo, hey, 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 yo. Our snake dance. This next dance here is what we call our eagle dance. We believe that God, the creator of life, had sent the eagle to our people, the one that flies the highest in the sky. The eagle being sent to always look after us, to always guide us, to always protect us. And if our life ever went down a bad or negative path, and we all have our own individual ways of defining what is bad or negative, the eagle would come and show us the way back home to that good way of life. And this dance is done in 4 parts. The first part, an eagle being born, learning to flap its wings, learning to make sounds with its voice, like a baby being born, learning to crawl, learning to cry. The eagle learning to fly, but not too far from the safety and the protection of its nest. A young child running and playing, but not too far from the safety and protection of home, mom, or dad. The eagle one day flying off to create its own nest, just like us as human beings. We've all grown up in our life and we decided to venture out into the world, to make our own journeys, to determine our own future, to find our own destinies, and to maybe one day make our own homes and our own families. The eagle one day flying off to the spirit world. Like we as human beings, one day we will all walk on and meet the people that have gone on before us. Once again, our eagle dance. Way way yo hey yo oh way yo ay ya hey ya way ya oh way ya hey ya oh way lo ay ya hey ya way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey yo way ya oh way ya hey ya oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey yo way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya oh way ya hey ya oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey yo way ya hey ya hey ya oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey yo way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya oh way ya hey ya oh way lo hey ya hey ya way ya hey yo oh way lo hey ya hey yo way ya oh way hey ya oh way lo hey ya hey ya hey ya hey yo Abuelo, hey, ah, hey, oh. Well, well, yeah, hey, yo, oh, well, hey, yeah, way, yeah, oh, way, yeah, hey, yeah, oh, well, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, way, yeah, hey, yo, oh, well, hey, yeah, hey, yo. Way, way, hey, oh, well, hey, way, hey, oh, well, hey, oh. Our eagle dance. For us as Native people, we've done the best that we know how to hold on to our drum, our songs, our dances. There was periods in time of our lives that we were not allowed by law to sing these songs. We were not allowed by law to do these dances. For those of you who don't know, in 1978, the United States Congress passed what is known today as the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. The dances that we've shared here, these are not religious dances. These are not ceremonial dances. These are the dances that we do at our powwows, our celebrations. We refer to this as the social aspect. But even the social aspect, we were not allowed to practice. And the United States Congress recognized that the indigenous people of this land did not even have certain inherent rights. The rights to religious freedom is guaranteed to all citizens underneath the United States Constitution. So there were special laws that was passed even to allow us to have the eagle feathers that we use today. You know, I've been many places throughout the world, and people will say afterwards, Mr. Tayac, I heard you use the word American Indian. We thought that the socially acceptable term was Native American. Well, you guys know in 1492, Columbus was a half a world off, and he was seriously lost. We all know that today and understand that. And he encountered the native people in the Caribbean, and he called them Indios. Indios meaning in with God. And he wrote in his journals that I had never met a people so loving, caring, giving, and sharing, that I will call these people Indios. And it was not a gentle encounter for the native people there. Well, it evolved from the term Indios to the term Indian. And then it evolved to the term noble red man, recognizing that the indigenous people of this land are a very proud and noble people. And then somehow it evolved to racial slurs. Racial slurs such as savages, heathens, renegades, dirty redskins. And then it evolved to the term American Indian. And now today, it's evolved to the term Native American. Well, you guys know in 1492, nobody ever asked us, what do we want to be known as a people? We live in a very beautiful country here, a country that is so ethnically diverse. We have Asian American, African American, Italian American, Jewish American, and so on and so on and so on. But everyone has their ethnic identity first. We are the only people that have the word American, American Indian. This shows that this land was our home and it still is today, and that we have survived as a people. We hope that throughout this presentation, we've been able to share a little bit of our song, a little bit of our drum, a little bit of our dances, maybe some of our history, and that when you leave today, you'll leave with maybe a little deeper appreciation and understanding for American Indian people and American Indian culture. We're always taught in our life to walk in harmony, to walk in balance. As we have our Mother Earth, we have our Father Sky. As we have our grandmother, the moon, we have our grandfather, the sun. As we have the four-legged, the animals, we have the winged ones, the birds. As we have men, we have women. Those are but a few things that keep natural harmony, natural balance. As we have an opening dance, we also have a closing dance. This will be the last dance of our program. Afterwards, we can take a few minutes. We have a very intimate, small audience here. So if anyone has a question, a comment, maybe something about what you've read, what you've seen on TV, what we presented here today, the outfits are worn, we could take a few minutes for some questions also. But this is going to be our closing dance, our last dance of the program. Hey ya, hey ya, way ya, 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 way ya, ho, well, hey ya, hey yo, way ya, ya, way ya, ya, way ya, ya, way ya, ho, well, hey ya, hey ya. Way ya, 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 way ya, ho, well, hey ya, hey yo. Way ya, 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 way ya, ho, well, hey ya, hey ya. Way ya, 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 way ya, 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 way ya, ya. Way ya ho well hey ya hey ya way ya way ya ho well hey ya hey yo way ya way ya we are ya 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 we are ya ho well ya ya we are ya 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 we are ya ho well ya I like to introduce everyone to my far left, our first men's traditional dancer, Nechi Tayac. Our women's fancy shawl dancer, Katie Isnock. Our next men's traditional dancer, Pete Cole. Also, I would like to mention my son. He's an artist. He has some of his silver work, his turquoise work, some bead work, I believe some native blankets down there. It's all for sale. If you can, please purchase a piece of his work there. This will allow him to continue to come to these programs. But this is now going to conclude our cultural end of our presentation. Does anyone have any questions now? Okay, young lady. Sure. I'm going to start with my son there. On his head, he's wearing what's known as a peja. Do you know what kind of hair that is up there? You have any idea, ma'am? Those long hairs that you see, those are all the hairs of his ex-girlfriends. But that's just a joke there. Humor is one of the most healing tools that the creator gave us, was to be able to laugh. Those are all the hair of a porcupine. The shorter hairs that you see are the hair of the white-tailed deer. That's known as a peja. On his neck there, he's wearing a bear claw necklace. That would represent that that individual was a good provider, a good hunter. A bone breastplate that's worn across the chest on down the stomach there, that was all made out of deer bone. It would be considered to be a piece of body armor. When we were playing our game stickball, that's known as lacrosse today, that there would have been protection. Stickball and lacrosse is a full contact sport, so it was worn to protect your upper and lower body. Beaded moccasins on the feet there, Angora goat hair. The Angora goat is a mountain animal to give you strength in your legs to do this dance. The bells that are worn so that you're dancing in time and in harmony to the drum. A feathered bustle worn on the waist. A war club in the hand. A feathered fan. That is the style of outfit that's worn at our powwows for what we call our northern traditional dancers. So I hope that answered your question. Somebody else? You had the same question? Okay. Katie, would you please come up for a moment? I'm going to hand you the microphone. Would you please share a little bit about what you're wearing?
So my outfit is more modern. Like he said, I'm a women's fancy dancer. So the parts of my outfit are, I have a lot of beadwork as well, leggings, kind of like a cape. The beadwork is more modern. We didn't have beads way back in the day, but we acquired beads through trade. And so our women would kind of adorn themselves and the men with beadwork. The beadwork I wear is like Lakota style. It has geometrical designs. Same with Nachi. His wife is Lakota. So our designs can kind of tell where you come from. They're symmetrical. They kind of represent balance. Certain designs mean certain different things, but that's kind of endless. And the clothing that I have on, the skirt is like a ribbon skirt. It's more modern materials. If you go to the powwow events, you won't see everybody dressed in leather or furs. A lot of our Native people have kind of evolved to wearing modern fabrics that are a little cooler, kind of to our own taste. And yeah, that's kind of it. I have some elk teeth, an elk tooth necklace. A lot of our people wear elk teeth and shells that kind of in the old day represented wealth. The type of elk teeth that I have, there's only 2 types of these teeth that the elk have. So if you see somebody with a lot of elk teeth, that kind of represents wealth in their family. They're good hunters. You could see a dress maybe with 100 elk teeth, and that would represent 50 elks that their family had gotten for them. And the shells are kind of represent wealth as well. We acquired shells through trade, so a lot of stuff we wear is just kind of what we used to wear in the old days as well.
We want to thank everyone for coming out today, and we hope that we've been able to share a little bit of our history, our culture, our traditions, our songs. Once again, my name is Mark Tayac, and we were here today from the Piscataway Indian Nation. Thank you for coming out. This will now conclude our program. And if anyone would like to come on over, Christmas is not far away. Maybe purchase a piece of our jewelry. But this will now once again conclude our program. Thank you.